So, just describe just who got you into baseball, what got you into catching, just a little bit about your background
Sure.
and.
What was my dad really? My dad's English, and he didn't know much about baseball when he came to the States. He was a professional soccer player, so soccer was kind of the sport that I was playing a lot when I was younger. And he kicked soccer balls to me all the time. And my grandfather, who was born in Brooklyn, actually, was a huge baseball fan. My mom's dad. And so when I got to a certain age, probably around 6 or 7, it was time to get into baseball. And he had a lot to do with it. My dad learned a lot about baseball, loved learning. My agent now, his name is Nez, owned a baseball school, and my dad took me there at 7 to start getting lessons because my dad didn't know really anything about it. So I owe him a lot as far as teaching me how to play.
And where did your dad play?
My dad played professional soccer in England,
Okay.
and then he came over here.
For what team?
He played as an apprentice for Liverpool. He played for Plymouth Argyle,
Wow.
and then he came over here, played in the North American Soccer League for Vancouver.
And you were saying that your grandfather was into baseball?
Yeah, he loved baseball. He grew up a Brooklyn Dodgers fan,
Wow.
and then moved out to Los Angeles, and that's why I'm from out there.
And who got you into catching specifically? Like, who inspired you? Like,
You know, it's funny. It's something I've always been drawn to. I think as a young kid, like I said, my dad would kick soccer balls at me all the time. I'd be blocking, I'd be moving, I'd be saving goals, and it was just kind of a natural progression. And when I turned about 10 or 11, I really, found myself drawn to the position. I love kind of seeing everything, being in control a little bit. And that's when I really was like, yeah, catching is, I think, where I'm going to be.
yeah. And did you watch like any catchers like when you were growing up? Did you ever watch like any of the great legendary catchers?
Of course, I had Pudge on my wall when I was growing up. I had Mike Piazza was a huge. Being from Los Angeles,
Oh.
I used to watch Mike all the time and was just in awe of him. He was probably my favorite catcher growing up.
And just talk about like you call a very aggressive game. Is it something that you just sit down with the pitchers and you just learn like what type of game that they like to be, like they like to throw, and just talk
Yeah.
about how you're able to do?
Yeah, I think we obviously have a plan, and we have tremendous amounts of data on all these hitters, and it's about compiling this stuff, figuring out how that matches up to our guys' strengths and weaknesses, what we can do, what we can save for later, we can get our guy into facing the starters a third time, what we can have in our back pocket in a big situation with runners in scoring position, stuff like that. So, I believe in my pitchers. Anyone that's throwing his stuff's going to beat the hitter, and that's kind of how I go about it.
Now I know you've answered this question already, but could you answer just what it is like catching R.A. Dickey with his knuckleball and just?
Ari is very, very tough. I mean, catching him causes a lot of anxiety amongst a lot of guys. But I'm learning, and I'm trying to get better. I'm catching a lot of his bullpens to just try to get a feel of what that thing does, because it seems to be so random. But I know, if I keep at it, I'll keep getting better.
And just like, what is the adjustment like? Say if you're in a game, R.A. Dickey's pitching, and then Bobby Parnell comes in with that 100-mile-per-hour.
It's kind of funny when you take that big glove off and you get yours on. You're like, man, this is my glove, and it's just the glove I'm the most comfortable with in the world. And it kind of feels funny on my hand now. And then Bobby's throwing aspirins at you at 100 miles an hour. And it's a little different, but something I've been able to adjust to. I think all right.
And just what does it mean for you? I mean, like you said, you grew up watching the Dodgers, and your New York baseball. Being here right now, being in the stadium, being able to wear the New York Met uniform.
It's incredible. I mean, it's when you get asked that question, it's hard to describe the pride and what goes into it. And you think about all the time you did working to try to get to this level, and when you're here, it's kind of like it's just unbelievable. I feel very, very fortunate every day.
And I know there's a lot going on with the 9/11 festivities. I mean, it's got to be extra special just to be able to go out there and visit the community and to say thank you to all the heroes.
No
and
question.
Stuff, right?
Absolutely. We're a very small part of the city, and to be able to have people come out and watch us, and for us to be able to honor it in the way that baseball is able to do is a fantastic feeling.
And just if you had anything to say to the fans, like, if somebody came up to you and just wanted to just chat to you about, like, to inspire them, like, for any young players, like, you have any words of advice for them?
Sure, I would say don't ever give up. It's possible. Anything is possible. You'll be told that it is very hard. You have to work. You have to sacrifice. But when you put all this effort into something, and you believe in it so much, and it finally happens, and it makes it all worthwhile. All the hard work is worthwhile.
Did anybody come up to you and just help you, just say to you, just keep at it, just...
Yeah, I mean, my parents, my wife, just were a tremendous support system for me. They said don't give up, and they helped me through some tough times, and I thank them each and every day.
And what about like have you been able to interact with any players along the way in your minor league and now major league career?
Yeah, it's great because there's so many guys here that I've had experience with in the minor leagues, and now we're here together, and it's kind of this surreal feeling, but it makes it so comfortable for everybody.
You ever go up to them and just be like, "Are we really here right now?"
It's funny. My first plane trip with Duda was on the way to Wrigley Field, and we just looked at each other and said, "Are you kidding me right now? How cool are we?"
And what's been like? Do you have a favorite place that you've been able to go? I know like a lot of places are new, but just has been any place that you just have to especially pinch yourself that.
Well, I mean, this place for me, I haven't been to LA, but when I went to Wrigley Field for the opener, there's just so much history. I mean, you're on the field and you look into the crowd and you expect to see people in top hats and coats. It feels like it's a throwback. So that place really was, gives you chills. And then Atlanta, because that's where my home is right now.
I guess if you weren't a baseball player, did you have a backup plan, or did you always know you were going to be?
I always wanted to be a baseball player. I always wanted to be in this game. I love this game. I think it's amazing. I just want to be here in it. So yeah, I thought it was going to be baseball the whole time.
Great.